She gave him everything, her love, her fortune, even her unborn child's future. But on one chilling night, a single FaceTime call exposed a betrayal so shocking it would spiral into $100 million war of lies, manipulation, and revenge. What happens when a billionaire husband, a pregnant wife, and a secret FBI operation collide? Stay with me, because this story will take you through heartbreak, betrayal, and the ultimate comeback you will never forget. And if you love stories that twist, burn, and explode in the most unexpected ways, don't forget to like this video, drop a comment with your thoughts, share it with friends, and subscribe for more unbelievable dramas like this one. The FaceTime notification lit up Sophia Blackwood's phone at 2:43 a.m. Still drowsy, 5 months pregnant, she reached across the silk sheets of their Manhattan penthouse bedroom. The caller ID showed Jessica Blake, Alex's new executive assistant. "Hello," Sophia answered, but the screen revealed something that shattered her world in an instant. Jessica Blake stood naked in what Sophia recognized immediately as their Aspen cabin's master bedroom. Behind her, equally undressed, was Alexander Knight, Sophia's husband of 4 years. Jessica's voice purred through the speaker. "Come back to bed, baby. We have 3 more days before you have to go back to your pathetic wife." The phone must have been accidentally triggered. Jessica's eyes suddenly widened in horror as she realized the call was active. The screen went black. Sophia sat frozen in their king-size bed, her hand instinctively moving to her swollen belly where their daughter grew. The baby kicked, as if sensing her mother's distress. The room spun. This couldn't be real. Alex was supposed to be at a blockchain conference in Denver. He texted her goodnight just 3 hours ago, complete with heart emojis. Her phone buzzed, Alex calling. She didn't answer. Another buzz. A text. "Baby Jessica just told me she accidentally called you. She was trying to reach her boyfriend. I'm at the conference hotel." That must have been him in the background. "You know how similar we look in the dark?" Sophia almost laughed at the absurdity. Their Aspen cabin had custom Italian marble she'd personally selected. She'd recognize those patterns anywhere. In Alex's voice, she'd know it even in her sleep. She opened her laptop and logged into their credit card statements. Her tech heiress background meant she knew her way around financial systems better than most. There it was, $50,000 at Tiffany's last month, a purchase she'd never seen. First-class tickets to Dubai for two, a charge at La Perla Lingerie that same day, $3,200. Her phone rang again. This time it was Emma Patterson, her best friend and PR crisis manager for Fortune 500 companies. "Sophia, honey, are you awake?" Emma's voice was urgent. "Unfortunately, yes," Sophia managed. "Listen, I didn't want to say anything earlier, but my assistant saw Alex at Catch LA last week with that Instagram influencer, Jessica Blake. They looked close, too close." "She's his executive assistant," Sophia said weakly, even as the evidence mounted. "Honey, executive assistants don't have 3 million Instagram followers and fitness sponsorship deals. I did some digging. She started working for him 6 months ago, right when you announced your pregnancy." Sophia's mind raced back through the past 6 months. Alex's sudden interest in late-night workout sessions, his new cologne, the way he'd been criticizing her pregnant body, disguising it as concern for her health, the business trips that had doubled in frequency. "Emma, I just saw them, together, on FaceTime, in our Aspen cabin." "Oh, honey, I'm coming over right now." "No, wait until morning. I need to think." Sophia ended the call and opened her jewelry box. Her grandmother's engagement ring was gone, the one Alex had claimed to be getting cleaned for their anniversary. Her passport was there, but their joint investment portfolio's passwords had all been changed last week. Alex had said it was for security reasons after a data breach at their bank. She thought back to 3 years ago when they'd met. Alex had been charming, ambitious, running a failing fintech startup. She'd been the rebel heiress of Blackwood Technologies, her father's empire worth over $2 billion. Against her family lawyer's advice, she'd secretly liquidated $75 million from her trust fund to save Knight Enterprises. The paperwork was all in her name, but she'd let Alex be the face of the company. She'd wanted him to feel like the success was his. Now he was on magazine covers as the self-made billionaire who conquered Wall Street. He gave motivational speeches about grinding your way to the top. He'd even written a book, No Excuses, How I Built an Empire from Nothing. From nothing, her $75 million was nothing. The baby kicked again, harder this time. Sophia rubbed her belly, whispering, "It's okay, Charlotte. Mommy's going to figure this out." But even as she said it, she heard Alex's key in the front door downstairs. He wasn't supposed to be back for 3 more days. The conference ran until Saturday. She heard his footsteps on the marble staircase. Rushed, panicked. He was coming to do damage control. The master manipulator was coming to manipulate. Sophia quickly screenshot the credit card statements and emailed them to Emma Wupong with a simple message. "Keep these safe." The bedroom door opened. Alex stood there in his Tom Ford suit, his green eyes that had once made her melt, now cold and calculating. Behind him stood Jessica Blake, attempting to look professional in a business suit that didn't quite hide the Tiffany necklace Sophia had seen on the credit card statement. "Sophia, baby, we need to talk," Alex began, his voice smooth as aged whiskey. "You're clearly having another episode. I've been documenting everything with Dr. Harrison. For your own good, sweetheart, and for Charlotte's." The word episode hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Sophia stared at her husband and his mistress, standing in her bedroom at 3 in the morning, and almost laughed at the audacity. "An episode?" she repeated slowly. "Alex, I saw you, both of you, in Aspen, on FaceTime." Alex's face morphed into a mask of concern. He moved toward her, but she held up her hand to stop him. Jessica shifted uncomfortably by the door, playing with her phone. "Honey, you're confused. It's the pregnancy hormones. Dr. Harrison warned us about this, remember? He said you might experience paranoid delusions." Alex pulled out his phone and showed her what appeared to be a medical report. "Look, I've been keeping track of all your episodes for the past 2 months. For your safety." Sophia grabbed the phone. The document was from Dr. Harrison's office, her OBGYN for the past year, and Alex's Princeton roommate. It detailed supposed incidents of pregnancy-induced psychosis with dates and times. According to this, she'd accused Alex of affairs 4 times, had crying fits in public, and exhibited dangerous paranoia regarding finances. "This is insane," Sophia breathed. "None of this happened." "See, this is exactly what Dr. Harrison said you'd say," Alex said gently, as if speaking to a child. "Denial is part of it. Jessica is here as a witness. She's been helping me document everything." "Helping you?" Sophia's voice rose. "She's your mistress." Jessica finally spoke, her voice dripping with fake concern. "Mrs. Knight, I understand you're going through a difficult time. Mr. Knight brought me here tonight because he was worried about your text messages. The threatening ones?" "What threatening messages?" Alex showed her his phone again. Text messages from her number filled the screen, threatening Jessica, calling her horrible names, promising to destroy her career. Messages Sophia had never sent. "I didn't send these," Sophia said firmly. "They're from your phone, baby. Look at the timestamps. They match when you were having your episodes." Alex sat on the bed, maintaining distance but positioning himself as the reasonable one. "I didn't want to believe it either. That's why I had David Stern look into it." David Stern was Alex's corporate lawyer, a shark who'd do anything for the right price. "You had your lawyer investigate me?" "I had to protect our family, Sophia. You're carrying our child. If something happens to you, what happens to Charlotte? What happens to your family's company?" There it was, the first hint of the real agenda. Emma's texts were flooding her phone now. Sophia glanced at them quickly. "Don't engage. Recording everything from security app. Keep him talking." Smart Emma had hacked into their home security system months ago when she'd noticed Alex acting strange. "Alex, just tell me the truth," Sophia said, playing vulnerable. "Are you having an affair with Jessica?" He laughed, actually laughed. "Honey, Jessica is in a committed relationship." "Aren't you, Jess?" 3 years strong, Jessica chirped. "Brad's actually waiting in the car. We came straight from the airport when Mr. Knight called about your situation." The lies flowed so easily. Sophia wondered how she'd never seen this side of him. "Then explain the Tiffany's charge, $50,000. The anniversary gift I'm designing for you, it's a surprise. Well, was a surprise. He pulled out his phone again, showing what appeared to be an email from Tiffany's about a custom piece for Mrs. Knight. And Dubai? The baby moon I was planning? First class because you can't fly coach while pregnant. Come on, Sophia. You know me better than this. Every lie was wrapped in just enough truth to be plausible. Every accusation turned back on her. I think, Alex continued, standing up, that we need to get you help. Professional help. I've already called Dr. Harrison. He can admit you tomorrow for observation. Just for a few days until you're stable. Admit me to a psychiatric facility? It's a wellness center, very discreet. They specialize in pregnancy-related mental health issues. He pulled out a brochure, Cedar Hills Wellness Retreat. It looked more like a prison disguised as a spa. I'm not going anywhere, Sophia said firmly. Then I'll have to take other measures, Alex said, his voice hardening slightly. David Stern has already prepared the paperwork. If you refuse treatment, I'll have to file for emergency conservatorship. For Charlotte's safety. You wouldn't dare. I have 3 months of documented episodes, Sophia. Text messages threatening my employee. Dr. Harrison's medical opinion. Even your mother agrees you need help. My mother? Sophia's heart sank. We had coffee yesterday. She's noticed your behavior too. The paranoia, the accusations. She's willing to testify if needed. Sophia's phone rang, her mother, Catherine Blackwood. She answered on speaker. Sophia, darling. Her mother's voice was strained. Alex told me everything. About your episodes. I think you should listen to him. Get some help, for the baby's sake. The betrayal hit harder than Alex's affair. Her mother, the woman who'd raised her to be strong and independent, was siding with him. Mom, he's lying. He's having an affair. Sophia, please. You accused the pool boy of stealing last month. You told me the housekeeper was spying on you. Now it's Alex and this nice young woman? Darling, you need help. Sophia hung up. The pool boy incident. She'd mentioned once that some cash was missing. The housekeeper, she'd made a joke about feeling watched. Alex had twisted everything, laid groundwork she hadn't even noticed. I have a flight to catch, Jessica announced. The fitness expo in Miami. Mr. Knight, I hope Mrs. Knight feels better soon. She left, but not before Sophia caught the slight smirk on her face. The next morning arrived with a process server at their door. Sophia, having spent a sleepless night researching her options, knew what was coming before she opened the envelope. Emergency motion for financial conservatorship. The documents claimed she was mentally incompetent due to pregnancy-induced psychosis and unable to manage her financial affairs. Alex had already left for his office, playing the concerned but dutiful husband who still had to run his empire despite his personal troubles. He'd kissed her forehead before leaving, whispering, "This is for your own good, baby." Emma arrived within minutes of the process server leaving. This is insane, Emma said, reading through the documents. He's trying to take control of everything. Your trust fund, your father's company shares, even your personal accounts. Can he do this? With Dr. Harrison's testimony and your mother's support? Maybe. The hearing is tomorrow. We need a lawyer, fast. Sophia called 6 law firms. Each one declined to take her case. The 7th was honest about why. Mrs. Knight, your husband has already consulted with every major firm in the city. Conflict of interest prevents us from representing you. He poisoned the well, Emma muttered. Classic abuse tactic. Sophia's phone buzzed. Their joint checking account had been frozen. Then their savings. Within an hour, every account she had access to was locked down pending the conservatorship hearing. I have $1,200 in cash, Sophia said numbly. That's it. Everything else is frozen. Use my cards, Emma offered immediately. He'll claim I'm stealing. Add it to his evidence of mental instability. They drove to the bank anyway. The manager, someone Sophia had known for 5 years, looked uncomfortable as he explained that Mr. Knight had placed a hold on all accounts for security reasons, and that Mrs. Knight appeared to be agitated and unstable, so he would need to call security if she didn't leave. The humiliation burned. Other customers stared. One took a video. By the time they reached the parking garage, the video was already on social media. Billionaire's pregnant wife has meltdown at bank with 2 million views in an hour. Sophia's phone rang constantly. reporters, gossip bloggers, concerned friends who'd seen the video. She turned it off. "We need to go to my apartment," Emma said. "Regroup." But when they arrived at Sophia's car, it wouldn't start. The lease was in Alex's company name. He'd reported it stolen. They took an Uber to Emma's apartment, a modest two-bedroom in Brooklyn. Sophia, who hadn't been in a regular apartment in years, sat on the worn couch and finally broke down crying. "I gave him everything," she sobbed. "My money, my connections, my life. I'm having his child, and he's destroying me." Emma held her friend, recording everything on her phone. "We're going to fight back, I promise." That evening, Michael Grant called. Her father's former business partner, now running his own venture capital firm, had heard about the situation. "Sophia, I have information about Alex that might help," Michael said carefully. "Can we meet?" They met at a small cafe in Brooklyn. Michael, 42 with kind eyes and silver temples, had always been like an uncle to her. He'd warned her about Alex years ago, but she'd been too in love to listen. "Your father never trusted Alex," Michael began. "He hired a private investigator before he died. I have the report." He handed her a folder. Inside were photos of Alex with 3 different women over the past 2 years, hotel receipts, records of secret accounts. "This is perfect," Emma said. "We can destroy him with this." "There's more," Michael said quietly. "The $75 million you gave him. He's been moving it offshore, setting up a divorce for over a year. Jessica Blake isn't just his mistress. She's his partner in this. They've been planning to take everything." Sophia felt the baby kick hard. Stress. The doctor had warned about stress. "But here's the worst part," Michael continued. "Dr. Harrison isn't just his friend. Alex has been paying him $50,000 a month for 6 months. Your mother? Alex paid off her $3 million debt to her creditors last month. The scope of the betrayal was staggering. Everyone she trusted had been bought." "The hearing is tomorrow," Sophia said weakly. "I don't even have a lawyer." "I know someone," Michael said. "She's young, hungry, and she hates David Stern. Her name is Sarah Mitchell. She'll meet you tonight." Sarah Mitchell arrived at Emma's apartment at 9 p.m. Barely 30, with fierce eyes and a no-nonsense attitude, she'd reviewed the case on the way over. "This is a coordinated financial abuse scheme," she said bluntly, "but proving it in 24 hours? Nearly impossible. The judge tomorrow is Thomas Henderson. He golfs with your husband." "So we're going to lose?" "The emergency conservatorship? Probably. But we can build a record for appeal, document everything, make them overplay their hand." That night, while Sophia tried to sleep on Emma's couch, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was a photo of Jessica Blake, wearing lingerie, lying in Sophia's bed, in their home. The caption read, "Getting it ready for when you're gone." The courtroom was packed. Somehow the media had been alerted to the high-profile conservatorship hearing. Photographers snapped pictures as Sophia walked in, 6 months pregnant now, wearing the only professional outfit she'd had at Emma's apartment, a simple black dress that emphasized her baby bump. Alex sat at the plaintiff's table, looking every inch the concerned husband in his charcoal Armani suit. David Stern beside him, shark-like in his confidence. They had a team of 6 lawyers. Sophia had Sarah Mitchell and Emma. Judge Henderson, a heavy-set man in his 60s, barely looked at Sophia as he entered. "This is a hearing on an emergency motion for financial conservatorship," he began. "Mr. Stern, present your case." David Stern stood, his voice commanding the room. "Your Honor, we're here because Mr. Knight loves his wife and fears for their unborn child's safety. Mrs. Knight is suffering from severe pregnancy-induced psychosis that has made her a danger to herself and others." He presented the evidence methodically. Dr. Harrison's reports. The threatening text messages to Jessica. Video of Sophia at the bank, edited to make her look unhinged. Testimony from 3 household employees about her erratic behavior. Even a statement from her mother. "Mrs. Knight has accused her husband of multiple affairs without evidence," Stern continued. "She's attempted to drain their joint accounts. She's threatened Mr. Knight's employee, Ms. Blake. Just last night, she claimed to have seen Mr. Knight in Aspen when he was provably in Denver at a blockchain conference. We have receipts, witness testimony, and footage from the hotel." The evidence was overwhelming. Fabricated, but overwhelming. Dr. Harrison took the stand. Under oath, he testified that Sophia had been showing signs of paranoid delusion for months, that he'd tried to prescribe medication, but she'd refused, that in his medical opinion, she was incapable of making rational decisions. Have you ever been paid by Mr. Knight outside of normal medical fees? Amanda asked on cross-examination. I've been compensated for my time preparing reports and attending hearings, as is standard, Judge Harrison replied smoothly. $50,000 a month? Objection, Stern called out. Counsel is making accusations without foundation. Sustained, Judge Henderson ruled quickly. Catherine Blackwood took the stand next. Sophia watched her mother, elegant in Chanel, avoid her eyes as she testified. My daughter has been unstable for months, Catherine said. She accused our longtime housekeeper of stealing. She's been paranoid about finances despite having access to millions. I believe she needs help. Mrs. Blackwood, Amanda began her across, did Alex Knight pay off your $3 million gambling debt last month? Catherine's face went white. That's not relevant. Your Honor, this goes to bias, Amanda argued. The witness will answer, Judge Henderson said reluctantly. He helped me with a personal matter, as a son-in-law would. $3 million worth of help? It was a loan. Do you have documentation of this loan? Catherine fumbled for words. There was no documentation. Then came Jessica Blake. She played the victim perfectly, describing the threatening messages, the fear she felt, how she was just trying to do her job. She even produced tears on cue. Ms. Blake, Amanda asked, where were you last night at 2:43 a.m.? In my apartment, with my boyfriend Brad. Not in Aspen? I've never been to Aspen. Your Instagram shows you skiing in Aspen last month. Jessica didn't miss a beat. That was Vail. They look similar. Finally, Sophia took the stand. Amanda had coached her to stay calm, stick to facts. Mrs. Knight, Amanda began, tell us what you saw on that FaceTime call. Sophia described it clearly, calmly. The cabin, Jessica naked, Alex's voice. And you're certain it was your husband? After 4 years of marriage, yes, I know my husband's voice. David Stern's cross-examination was brutal. Ms. Knight, are you taking any medication? Prenatal vitamins. No psychiatric medication despite Dr. Harrison's recommendations? I don't need psychiatric medication. You believe your husband, a successful CEO, would risk his billion-dollar company for an affair? I know what I saw. Like you knew the housekeeper was spying? Like you knew the pool boy was stealing? Those were misunderstandings. Or delusions. It went on for an hour. Every word twisted, every incident reframed. By the end, even Sophia almost doubted herself. Amanda presented their evidence, the private investigators' photos, the offshore accounts. But Stern objected to everything. Hearsay, lack of foundation, improper authentication. Judge Henderson sustained every objection. The ruling came after a brief recess. Based on the evidence presented, Judge Henderson intoned, this court finds clear and convincing evidence that Mrs. Sophia Knight is currently unable to manage her financial affairs due to pregnancy-related mental health issues. The court grants temporary conservatorship to Mr. Alexander Knight to be reviewed in 90 days. The gavel fell. Sophia's world collapsed. She now had no access to any money, no ability to hire lawyers, no power over her own life. Alex walked over, playing the concerned husband for the cameras. We're going to get you help, baby, he said loud enough for everyone to hear. For Charlotte's sake. The baby kicked, and Sophia wondered if her daughter would ever know the truth about her father. 3 weeks passed in a blur of humiliation and isolation. Sophia lived with Emma, unable to access a penny of her own money. The media painted her as the billionaire's crazy pregnant wife, running segments about pregnancy psychosis with her photo as the backdrop. Alex, meanwhile, played the devoted husband perfectly. He gave interviews about standing by his wife through mental illness, about the challenges of pregnancy on relationships. He even started a foundation for pregnancy-related mental health, using Sophia's money, of course. Jessica Blake's Instagram flourished. She posted workout videos from exclusive locations, always careful never to be photographed with Alex. But the jewelry she wore told a different story. The Tiffany necklace, the Cartier watch, all charged to accounts Sophia could no longer access. Then came the call that changed everything. Sophia? Emma rushed into the apartment. You need to get to Mount Sinai, now. What's wrong? You're in labor. That's impossible. I'm only 7 months. The pain hit like a lightning bolt. Her water broke, flooding Emma's kitchen floor. The stress had triggered early labor. Emma drove like a madwoman through Manhattan traffic while Sophia tried calling Alex. 17 calls. No answer. She texted, "In labor? Mount Sinai. Emergency." Nothing. At the hospital, the nurses recognized her from the news. Some were sympathetic, others whispered. Dr. Harrison was supposedly on vacation. The on-call doctor, a young woman named Dr. Anderson, took over. "Mrs. Knight, you're dilated to 6 centimeters already. This baby is coming fast. Is your husband on the way?" Sophia couldn't answer through the contraction. Emma held her hand through 7 hours of labor. 7 hours of calling Alex with no response. His assistant claimed he was in a critical meeting that couldn't be interrupted. The meeting, Sophia learned later, was a couple's massage with Jessica at the St. Regis Spa. Charlotte Knight was born at 11:43 p.m., 5 pounds, 2 ounces, perfect, despite being premature. Sophia held her daughter, tears streaming, as the baby's tiny fingers wrapped around hers. "She's beautiful," Emma whispered. Alex arrived 3 hours later, reeking of Jessica's perfume with David Stern in tow. "Why didn't anyone call me?" he demanded loudly, ensuring the nurses heard his performance. "We called 47 times," Emma snapped. "My phone was broken. I came as soon as I heard." He approached the bed, reaching for the baby. "Let me hold my daughter." Sophia's instinct was to pull Charlotte closer, but the nurse, believing the public narrative, encouraged her to let the devoted father hold his child. Alex held Charlotte like a prop, letting David take photos for evidence. Then he handed the baby back and pulled out an envelope. "Sophia, I've been patient, but this has to end. I'm filing for divorce." In her hospital bed, hours after giving birth, he served her divorce papers. "The terms are generous," David Stern said. "Given your mental state, Mr. Knight is seeking full custody with supervised visitation for you. Once you complete treatment, we can revisit." "You can't do this," Sophia said weakly. "Actually, I can. As your conservator, I've had you evaluated by 3 psychiatrists. All agree you're unfit." Alex set down another folder. "Sign the papers, Sophia. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Catherine Blackwood chose that moment to arrive, designer heels clicking on the hospital floor. "Sophia, darling." She stopped when she saw the scene. Her daughter, exhausted from childbirth, being served divorce papers. Her granddaughter, premature and fragile. Her son-in-law and his lawyer, hovering like vultures. "What is this?" Catherine demanded. "The end of a charade," Alex said coldly. "Your daughter is sick, Catherine. She needs help, not enablement." Catherine looked at Sophia, really looked at her for the first time in weeks. Not the crazy woman from the news stories, but her daughter. Broken, betrayed, clutching her newborn. "Alex," Catherine said slowly, "perhaps this can wait." "It's waited long enough." He turned back to Sophia. "Sign the papers, or I'll have Charlotte placed in temporary foster care for her safety while you're evaluated." "You wouldn't." "Try me." Sophia looked at her daughter, so small, so innocent, then at the man she'd once loved, now showing his true monster. With shaking hands, she signed the papers. Alex and David left immediately after, but not before Alex made one final performance for the nurses, kissing Sophia's forehead and promising to take care of everything. Catherine stood frozen in the doorway. "Mom," Sophia said quietly, "you chose him. You chose his money over me." "Sophia, please leave." Catherine left, but not before Sophia saw the realization dawning in her mother's eyes. The recognition of what she'd done, what she'd enabled. That night, as Sophia held Charlotte in the NICU, watching machines help her tiny daughter breathe, she made a promise. "I'm going to get us out of this, baby girl. I'm going to show you that your mother isn't weak, that she isn't crazy, that she can rise from ashes." Emma, who'd been silent in the corner, finally spoke. "I've been recording everything. Every interaction, every threat. My friend at the FBI might be interested in Alex's offshore accounts." 2 weeks after Charlotte's birth, Sophia sat in Emma's living room, legally allowed to hold her daughter for only 3 hours a day under supervision. The court-appointed supervisor, a stern woman named Mrs. Peterson, watched her every move, documenting everything in a notebook. The doorbell rang. Emma answered, returning with an unexpected visitor, Victoria Knight, Alex's older sister. Victoria was everything Alex wasn't. Honest, understated, wearing a simple blazer and jeans despite having her own successful design firm. She'd been estranged from Alex for 3 years, supposedly over a business disagreement. "We need to talk," Victoria said to Sophia, without the supervisor. "I can't," Sophia gestured to Mrs. Peterson. "Actually, you can. This is a family visit. I'm Charlotte's aunt." Victoria showed legal documents. "I have visitation rights too." Mrs. Peterson reluctantly agreed to wait in the kitchen. Victoria pulled out a USB drive. "Alex destroyed my life 3 years ago, stole my inheritance through forged documents. $20 million. I've been planning his downfall ever since." "Why now?" Emma asked suspiciously. "Because now he's vulnerable. And because what he's doing to Sophia is exactly what he did to our mother before she died." Victoria's eyes were hard. "She died thinking she was crazy. I won't let him do it again." She plugged the USB into Emma's laptop. Financial records filled the screen. Real ones, not the sanitized versions Alex showed investors. "He's been laundering money through Knight Enterprises," Victoria explained, "using Sophia's initial investment to hide proceeds from insider trading. Jessica Blake isn't just his mistress. She's his partner. Her fitness empire is a front. Look." The records showed millions flowing from Knight Enterprises to Blake Fitness LLC, then to offshore accounts in the Caymans. "This is evidence of federal crimes," Emma breathed. "There's more. I helped him move offices last month. Found his old laptop, the one he thought he destroyed." Victoria pulled out another device. "Every crime he's committed is on here, including emails about planning to have Sophia committed permanently after the divorce." Sophia read the emails, her blood running cold. Alex and David Stern discussing having her institutionalized. Jessica suggesting they could get full control of the Blackwood fortune if Sophia was declared permanently incompetent. "We need to go to the FBI," Emma said. "Not yet," Victoria warned. "Alex has judges, cops, officials on his payroll. We need something he can't wiggle out of." "Like what?" "Jessica Blake." Victoria explained her plan. Jessica was smart but greedy. She was also playing her own game, keeping recordings of Alex admitting to crimes, planning to blackmail him once the divorce was final. "How do you know this?" Sophia asked. "Because she tried to recruit me last week. Thought I'd want revenge on my brother." She was right, just not the way she expected. Victoria had been playing along, pretending to ally with Jessica while gathering evidence. She has recordings of Alex admitting to the forgery, the gaslighting, even bribing Dr. Harrison. She keeps them on her phone, backed up to a private cloud. "We need those recordings," Emma said. "Already in motion. Jessica's having a launch party for her new fitness app tomorrow night. While she's distracted, my tech guy will clone her phone." Sophia felt hope for the first time in months. Then Charlotte started crying, and Mrs. Peterson returned, noting the infant's distress in her log. "May I comfort my daughter?" Sophia asked. Mrs. Peterson nodded grudgingly. As Sophia held Charlotte, singing softly, she noticed Victoria watching with an unreadable expression. "He did the same thing to our mother," Victoria said quietly. "Made her think she was paranoid. Isolated her. By the time she died, she didn't trust anyone. Not even me." "I'm sorry," Sophia said. "Don't be sorry. Be angry. Use it." That night, after Victoria left, Michael Grant called Emma's apartment. "Sophia, I've been investigating something. Remember the blockchain conference Alex was supposedly at? When I saw him on FaceTime. There was no blockchain conference in Denver that week, but there was a property closing in Aspen. Alex bought a house, in Jessica's name, using funds from your trust. The betrayal went deeper than affairs. It was systematic asset stripping. Michael, can you testify to this?" "I want to, but..." He paused. "Alex had me investigated. He has photos that could be misinterpreted. Me visiting you when he wasn't home. Him and David are threatening to claim we had an affair. But we never..." "I know. But with his narrative of your instability, who would believe us?" Even allies were being neutralized, but Sophia wasn't giving up. "Michael, if we get evidence of his crimes, real evidence, would you stand with me?" "Always, Sophia. Your father would want me to protect you." As Sophia hung up, she looked at Charlotte sleeping in the borrowed crib Emma had bought. Her daughter deserved better than this, deserved a mother who fought back. Tomorrow, at Jessica's party, they would get their evidence. And then Alexander Knight would learn what happened when you betrayed a mother protecting her child. Jessica Blake's fitness app launch party was the social media event of the season, held at the Rainbow Room with Manhattan glittering below. Influencers and tech executives mingled, while Jessica, in a skin-tight silver dress that cost more than most people's cars, live-streamed everything. Sophia watched from Emma's apartment, Charlotte sleeping in her arms. Victoria was at the party, playing the supportive potential ally to Jessica, while her tech specialist worked remotely. "Got access," the specialist's voice crackled through Victoria's hidden earpiece. "Downloading everything from Jessica's cloud now." On the live stream, Alex appeared, keeping strategic distance from Jessica, but clearly there to support his employees' success. He gave a speech about innovation and female entrepreneurship that made Sophia nauseous. Then something unexpected happened. Jessica, drunk on champagne and attention, started another live stream from her phone. She didn't realize she was still broadcasting when she pulled Alex into a private corner. "When are you going to leave that psycho?" Jessica's voice was clear through the stream. "I'm tired of hiding." "Soon, baby. The divorce is almost final. Then we can go public." "And the money?" "All 75 million is already transferred. Sophia will be lucky to get visitation rights. My lawyers are brilliant." Emma was recording everything. The live stream had 800,000 viewers before Jessica realized her mistake and cut the feed. But the internet never forgets. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. "Billionaire admits to stealing wife's money on live stream," trending worldwide. Alex's phone must have exploded with calls because he left the party immediately, his face ash white. Victoria called an hour later. "We got everything from Jessica's phone, but there's something else, something worse." She arrived at Emma's apartment at midnight with the downloaded files. "Jessica isn't who you think she is," Victoria began. "Her real name is Jennifer Moss. She's been running this con for years. 3 other wealthy men, all divorced, all lost everything to mental health claims." The evidence was damning. Jennifer saw Jessica had a pattern: seduce married men, help them gaslight their wives, take half the money, then disappear. She'd done it in Los Angeles, Miami, and Houston before landing in New York. "But here's the kicker," Victoria continued. "She's been recording everything with Alex. Not for blackmail, for the FBI. She got caught in Houston and made a deal. She's been an informant for 18 months. Sophia's world tilted again. Jessica is working for the FBI? She was supposed to gather evidence on Alex's money laundering. The affair was her idea, not part of the plan. She went rogue, deciding to score one more payday before disappearing. Emma pulled up her laptop. The live stream is everywhere. Alex is finished in the court of public opinion. Indeed, social media had turned into a frenzy. The clip of Alex admitting to stealing Sophia's money, calling her psycho, planning everything, it was viral poison. His company's stock price plummeted in after-hours trading. Investors were calling for his resignation. David Stern called Emma's phone. She put him on speaker. "Miss Patterson, I'm calling on behalf of Mr. Knight. We'd like to discuss a settlement." "Now you want to settle?" Emma laughed. "After what you did to her?" The live stream was taken out of context. "David, we have everything. The bribes to Dr. Harrison, the forged documents, the offshore accounts, everything." Silence. Then, "What do you want?" "Full custody, all the stolen money returned, and Alex's resignation from Knight Enterprises." "That's excessive." "That's the starting point. Call back when you're serious." Emma hung up. An hour later, there was pounding on the door. Not Alex. The FBI. Special Agent Jennifer Coleman stood in the doorway with 3 other agents. "Mrs. Knight, we need to talk about your husband and Jessica Blake." They knew about the live stream. They knew about the evidence Victoria had gathered, and they knew Jessica had gone completely off script. Jessica Blake was supposed to gather evidence, not participate in the crimes, Agent Coleman explained. "She's violated her agreement. We're arresting her tonight, but we need your cooperation to get Alex." "What kind of cooperation?" Sophia Guillem asked, holding Charlotte tighter. "Testify, provide all evidence, help us prove the money laundering charges." "And in return?" Your husband goes to federal prison. You get your life back. It seemed too simple, too clean. Sophia had learned not to trust easy solutions. I want immunity for Victoria and Michael Grant. They were just trying to help me. Done. And I want Jessica charged with everything, not just the FBI violation, the conspiracy to commit fraud, the emotional abuse, everything. Agent Coleman smiled. Ma'am, Jessica Blake is looking at 20 years minimum. She destroyed her deal the moment she went into business for herself. As the FBI left with copies of all their evidence, Sophia felt the tide turning, but she knew Alex wouldn't go down without a fight. Her phone rang, her mother. Sophia, I saw the live stream. Oh God, what have I done? For the first time in months, Sophia heard genuine anguish in Catherine's voice. You chose him, Mother. You chose his money over your daughter. I know. I'll do anything to fix this. I'll testify against him. I'll tell everyone the truth. The truth? Sophia laughed bitterly. The truth is you sold me for $3 million. She hung up. Some betrayals cut too deep for easy forgiveness. The FBI moved faster than anyone expected. 3 days after the live stream disaster, Alex was scheduled to host Knight Enterprises' quarterly investor meeting. The Rainbow Room was packed with shareholders, media, and Wall Street's elite. Alex, ever the showman, refused to hide despite his lawyer's advice. Sophia watched from Emma's apartment as financial news channels covered the event live. Alex stood at the podium in his best suit, trying to control the narrative. The recent social media incident has been completely mischaracterized, he began, his voice steady despite the crisis. My wife is suffering from postpartum psychosis. In her confused state, she's made allegations that Jessica Blake and I have inappropriately. The ballroom doors burst open. FBI agents flooded in, badges visible, weapons holstered, but present. Agent Coleman walked straight to the podium. Alexander Knight, you're under arrest for money laundering, wire fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy to commit fraud. The room erupted. Cameras captured everything as Alex was handcuffed on live television. His face, that perfectly controlled mask, finally cracked. This is a mistake, he shouted. I want my lawyer. Mr. Stern has his own problems, Agent Coleman replied. Indeed, David Stern was being arrested simultaneously at his law firm. The footage split screen on every news channel. But the most satisfying arrest was happening at JFK Airport. Jessica Blake, trying to board a flight to Dubai with a fake passport, was tackled by TSA and FBI agents. Her arrest was filmed by dozens of travelers and went viral within minutes. Emma popped champagne. It's over, Sophia. You won. But Sophia knew better. The arrests were just the beginning. The next morning, she appeared at an emergency custody hearing. This time, she had a team of lawyers led by Sarah Mitchell, who'd been working pro bono since the FBI involvement became public. The courtroom was packed again, but the atmosphere was completely different. Judge Henderson looked uncomfortable. He'd been golfing with Alex just last week. Now his friend was in federal custody. Your Honor, Amanda began, given Mr. Knight's arrest on multiple federal charges, we move for immediate restoration of full custody to Mrs. Knight and the reversal of the conservatorship. The new evidence was overwhelming. Not just the FBI charges, but everything, the bribes, the forgeries, the conspiracy. Dr. Harrison had already lost his medical license. 3 psychiatrists testified that Sophia showed no signs of mental illness, that the previous diagnosis had been fraudulent. Furthermore, Amanda continued, we have evidence that Your Honor received significant campaign contributions from Mr. Knight's company. Judge Henderson went pale. Are you suggesting? I'm suggesting nothing, Your Honor. Simply stating facts. Perhaps you should recuse yourself. He did immediately. The replacement judge, a woman named Patricia Williams, reviewed the case for an hour before ruling. This court finds that Mrs. Sophia Knight was the victim of an elaborate fraud. Full custody is awarded to the mother. The conservatorship was reversed. All assets are to be immediately returned. Sophia held Charlotte, tears streaming. Her daughter gurgled happily, unaware of the magnitude of the moment. But the best revelations came during the FBI investigation. Jessica Blake, trying to reduce her sentence, revealed everything. She provided recordings of Alex planning Sophia's destruction, discussing bribing officials, even joking about having Sophia accidentally overdose on psychiatric medication. He's a monster, Jessica told investigators, perhaps the only honest thing she'd ever said. I've conned a lot of men, but he's the only one who genuinely enjoyed destroying his wife. The financial crimes were staggering. Alex had stolen not just the 75 million, but had been siphoning money from Knight Enterprises for years. The company was bankrupt, its investors wiped out. Victoria took over as emergency CEO, working to salvage what she could for the employees and small investors. She returned every penny of her inheritance to help, proving she was nothing like her brother. Michael Grant testified about Alex's long-term plan to steal the entire Blackwood fortune. He'd been planning this before he even married Sophia. He studied her, Michael told the grand jury, learned her weaknesses. The marriage was just another hostile takeover to him. Catherine Blackwood tried to redeem herself, testifying against Alex, admitting he'd manipulated her. But her relationship with Sophia remained broken. "I'll never trust you again," Sophia told her mother during a supervised visit with Charlotte. "You can see your granddaughter, but you'll never be my mother again." Catherine accepted this, knowing she'd earned her daughter's contempt. The trial date was set for 6 months out. Alex's assets were frozen, his reputation destroyed, his empire in ruins. He sat in federal custody, no longer the master manipulator, but just another criminal in an orange jumpsuit. But Sophia wasn't done. She had one more move to make. 6 months later, Sophia Blackwood stood in the conference room of her new company, Truth Tech. The startup, funded with her recovered money and Michael Grant's venture capital, had one mission: creating technology to help women prove financial and emotional abuse. The app could securely record conversations, track financial transactions, and connect victims with resources. It had launched 3 months ago and already had 2 million downloads. "The Anderson case just settled," her chief legal officer reported. "Our evidence was crucial. She got full custody and all her assets back." Sophia smiled. Every victory for another woman felt like redemption for her own pain. Emma, now Truth Tech's head of communications, rushed in. "The Time magazine interview just went live. You need to see this." The headline read, "From Victim to Victor: How Sophia Blackwood Turned Personal Tragedy into a $100 million Mission." The article detailed everything: the gaslighting, the betrayal, the FBI investigation, and her rise from the ashes. But more importantly, it featured testimonials from dozens of women who'd escaped similar situations using Truth Tech. "We have a problem," Victoria said, entering the room. She joined as CFO after salvaging what she could from Knight Enterprises. "Alex's lawyer is trying to claim Truth Tech assets in the divorce proceedings." "Let him try," Sophia said calmly. "The company was founded after our separation with my recovered funds. He has no claim." Indeed, Sarah Mitchell had structured everything perfectly. Alex couldn't touch Truth Tech, couldn't claim any part of Sophia's new empire. The federal trial began the next week. Sophia sat in the witness box for 2 days, calmly recounting everything: the gaslighting, the medical fraud, the systematic destruction of her life. She looked directly at Alex as she spoke, no longer the scared, pregnant woman he'd tried to destroy. "He told me I was crazy so many times, I started to believe it," she testified. "But the only insane thing was trusting him with my heart and my money." Alex's defense tried to paint him as a stressed businessman who made mistakes. They claimed Jessica had manipulated him, that the pregnancy situation had been misunderstood. Then the recordings were played: Jessica's secret tapes of Alex laughing about driving Sophia insane, planning to have her committed permanently, bragging about stealing her inheritance. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, guilty on all charges. The sentencing came a month later. Sophia sat in the gallery, Charlotte on her lap. Her daughter was almost a year old now, healthy and thriving despite her premature birth. "Alexander Knight," the judge intoned, "you systematically destroyed your wife's life for financial gain. You corrupted medical professionals, legal officials, and family members. You showed no remorse, only regret at being caught. The court sentences you to 35 years in federal prison." Alex collapsed. His lawyers had told him to expect 10 years maximum. But the judge had been horrified by the evidence, particularly the recordings about permanently institutionalizing Sophia. David Stern received 15 years in disbarment. Harrison got 10 years for medical fraud. Even Judge Henderson, the original corrupt judge, was impeached and charged with accepting in bribes. Jessica Blake, despite her cooperation, received 20 years. Her history of similar cons worked against her. She'd destroyed too many lives to earn real leniency. "How does it feel?" a reporter asked Sophia outside the courthouse. "Like justice," she replied simply. But the real satisfaction came later, at Truth Tech's first anniversary gala. The company was valued at $300 million. They'd helped thousands of women escape abusive situations. The FBI had partnered with them to identify financial abuse patterns. Michael Grant was there, having become more than just a business partner over the months. He'd been patient, supportive, never pushing, just being present. Charlotte called him Mike and giggled when he made funny faces. "I have something to tell you," Michael said during a quiet moment on the terrace. "I've been in love with you since your father introduced us 5 years ago. I never said anything because you were married, then everything happened. I didn't want to complicate things." Sophia looked at this good man who'd stood by her through everything. "I know," she said softly. "I've known for a while. And? And I think Charlotte deserves a father who will actually love her. And maybe I deserve someone who sees me as a person, not a bank account." Their kiss was gentle. Nothing like the passion she'd had with Alex. It was better. It was real. Catherine Blackwood watched from inside the gala, uninvited but unable to stay away. She'd sent letters every week for a year, all returned unopened. She donated her entire remaining fortune to domestic violence charities. Nothing earned her forgiveness. Victoria approached her. "You should go." "I know, I just wanted to see her happy." "She is, no thanks to you." Catherine left, knowing she'd lost her daughter forever because she'd chosen money over family. The same mistake Alex had made, just from a different angle. As the gala continued, Sophia took the stage for her speech. "A year ago, I was broke, labeled insane, and fighting for the right to hold my own daughter. Today, Truth Tech is saving lives, not because I'm special, but because I learned something important." "Wow," she paused, looking at the audience of survivors, investors, and supporters. "The people who try to break us always underestimate one thing: the power of a woman who has nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. They mistake our kindness for weakness, our trust for stupidity. But when we rise, when we finally fight back, we don't just recover, we become unstoppable." The applause was thunderous, but Sophia was already thinking ahead. Truth Tech was expanding internationally. She was working on legislation to prevent conservatorship abuse. Charlotte would grow up in a world where women had tools to protect themselves. From the stage, she could see the Manhattan skyline, the same view she'd had from the penthouse she'd shared with Alex. But this view was better. This was hers, earned through survival and strength, not inherited or stolen. 3 years had passed since Alex's sentencing. Charlotte was 4 years old, a bright, confident child who knew nothing of the drama surrounding her birth. She called Michael Daddy now. He'd officially adopted her after he and Sophia married in a small ceremony in the Hamptons. Sophia stood in her office at the new Truth Tech headquarters, a gleaming tower in Lower Manhattan. The company was valued at $1 billion, having expanded to 30 countries. The wall behind her desk was covered with letters from women whose lives had been saved by the technology. "Mrs. Grant," her assistant announced, "there's someone here to see you. Says it's urgent." Sophia expected a business meeting, but instead, Victoria walked in with a grim expression. "Alex is getting out," she said without preamble. "That's impossible. He got 35 years. His lawyer found a technicality, something about jury selection. He's getting a new trial, and with time served and good behavior, he could be out on bail within a month." As Sophia felt the familiar ice in her veins, but it didn't paralyze her anymore. She'd grown beyond fear. "Let him come," she said calmly. But Victoria wasn't finished. "There's more. Jessica Blake was shanked in prison last week. She survived, but she's scared. She wants to make a deal." "What kind of deal?" "She has more recordings, things she held back, including Alex discussing plans to kill you if the gaslighting didn't work." Murder conspiracy. That would end any chance of Alex getting out. Sophia met with Jessica in the prison hospital ward. The woman who'd once been a glamorous influencer looked hollow, scarred, afraid. "He's going to kill me," Jessica said without preamble. "He has people inside. The attack was a warning." "Why should I help you?" "Because he'll come for you next, and Charlotte." Jessica's voice broke. I know I'm a monster. I destroyed lives for money. But he's worse. He enjoys the destruction. She provided the recordings. Alex's voice clear and cold, discussing how he could make Sophia's death look like postpartum suicide, how he'd already researched methods, how Charlotte would be his ticket to the full Blackwood fortune. I kept these as insurance, Jessica admitted, but insurance doesn't work when you're dead. Sophia took the recordings to the FBI. Within hours, new charges were filed. Conspiracy to commit murder carried a life sentence. The bail hearing became a nightmare for Alex's own defense. The judge listened to the recordings with visible disgust. Bail is denied. The defendant will remain in custody pending all trials. Alex's face as he was led away was something Sophia would never forget. The mask was completely gone, replaced by pure rage. He screamed threats until the guards dragged him out. But the real closure came a month later. Sophia was at Central Park with Charlotte and Michael, teaching their daughter to ride a bike, when her phone rang. It was the federal prosecutor. Alex Knight is dead. What? Suicide last night, left a note confessing everything and blaming you. Sophia felt nothing. No satisfaction, no sadness, just nothing. The man who'd nearly destroyed her was gone, but he'd been dead to her for years already. Are you okay? Michael asked, seeing her face. He's gone, Ma, she said similarly. Michael understood immediately, pulling her close while Charlotte continued wobbling on her bike, laughing with pure joy. That evening, after Charlotte was asleep, Sophia found the letter Alex had left for her. The prosecutor had forwarded it. Sophia, you won. I hope you're happy. You took everything from me. But know this, I never loved you. You were just a mark that got lucky. Jessica was the only real thing I ever felt. Enjoy your victory. You'll always be the crazy woman who needed the FBI to save her. Alex. She burned the letter. Even in death, he was trying to hurt her, to plant seeds of doubt. But she was beyond his reach now. The next morning brought unexpected visitors. Catherine stood at her door with an elderly woman Sophia didn't recognize. Before you close the door, Catherine said quickly, this is Martha Harrison, Dr. Harrison's wife. The woman stepped forward. My husband destroyed your life for money. He's in prison where he belongs. I've lived with the shame for 3 years. I came to apologize and to give you this. She handed Sophia a check for $5 million. It's everything we had, the beeves, the savings, the house sale. I know money doesn't fix what happened, but maybe it can help others. Sophia looked at the check, then at the woman's worn face. Keep your money, Sophia said gently. You didn't commit the crimes. But if you want to help, tell your story. Help people understand how medical professionals can be corrupted. Martha Harrison broke down crying, grateful for a forgiveness she hadn't expected. Catherine stood silently, hoping for the same grace. Mom, Sophia said finally, Charlotte asks about you. She's old enough to wonder why she doesn't have a grandmother like her friends. Sophia, you can see her. Supervise visits once a month, but you and we're done. You chose money over your daughter. That's not something I can forgive. Catherine nodded, tears streaming. It was more than she'd hoped for. A year later, at TruthTech's 5th anniversary, Sophia stood before an audience of world leaders, tech innovators, and survivors. The company had just partnered with the UN to combat financial abuse globally. 5 years ago, I was told I was crazy for believing my own eyes, she began. Today, TruthTech has helped 50,000 women prove their truth. We've recovered $2 billion in stolen assets. We've put 300 abusers in prison. The audience erupted in applause, but Sophia wasn't finished. But this isn't about numbers. It's about Charlotte Morgan, who escaped her abusive husband using our app and now runs a shelter. It's about Linda Carter, who proved her conservatorship was fraudulent and got her children back. It's about every woman who was called crazy for speaking truth. She looked at the front row where Michael sat with Charlotte, who was drawing in a notebook, oblivious to her mother's fame. My ex-husband thought he destroyed me. He thought taking my money, my reputation, my sanity would break me forever. He was wrong. He gave me something invaluable, the knowledge that I could survive anything, that I could build an empire from ashes. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes, but Sophia was already thinking about the future. Charlotte had started asking questions about her biological father. Soon, Sophia would have to explain. She'd tell the truth, age-appropriate but honest, that sometimes people who should love us choose to hurt us instead. That Charlotte was loved, wanted, and that her mother had fought the world to keep her safe. As the gala continued, Sophia stepped onto the terrace for air. Manhattan sparkled below, the same city where she'd nearly lost everything. Victoria joined her, now her closest friend and business partner. "Any regrets?" Victoria asked. "Just one," Sophia admitted. "I wish I'd seen who he really was sooner." "Would you change it if you could?" Sophia thought about Charlotte, about Michael, about Truth Tech, and the thousands of women they'd helped. "No," she said firmly, "because then I wouldn't have Charlotte. I wouldn't have built this. I wouldn't know how strong I really am." A small hand tugged at her dress. Charlotte had escaped from Michael, her face covered in chocolate from the dessert table. "Mommy, can we go home? I'm tired." Sophia lifted her daughter, not caring about the expensive dress getting stained. This was what mattered. This little girl who would never doubt her worth, never accept less than respect, never let anyone call her crazy for speaking her truth. "Let's go home, baby." As they left, Sophia caught a glimpse of their reflection in the window. A successful woman, a loving husband, a happy child. The family Alex had tried to prevent her from having. The life he'd tried to steal. She'd won not by destroying him. He'd done that himself. She'd won by refusing to let his destruction define her limits, by turning pain into power, betrayal into billions, and trauma into triumph. The elevator doors closed on the gala, but opened on their future. Charlotte was already talking about her upcoming kindergarten play, where she'd be a butterfly. Michael was planning their summer vacation to Greece. Normal, beautiful life things that seemed impossible just 5 years ago. As their car pulled away from Truth Tech Tower, Sophia noticed Charlotte had drawn something in her notebook during the speech. It was a picture of their family, stick figures but clearly them, standing in front of a building labeled Mommy's Work. At the top, in shaky kindergarten writing, Charlotte had written, "My mommy is brave." Yes, Sophia thought, holding her daughter close as Michael drove them home. She was brave. She was successful. She was free. And Alexander Knight? He was just a bad chapter in her story, one that made the happy ending so much sweeter. He tried to erase her, to own her, to break her. Instead, he'd created his own destroyer, because hell hath no fury like a woman gaslighted, who keeps the receipts, gets the FBI involved, and builds a billion-dollar empire on the ashes of his lies. The city lights blurred past as they headed home to their brownstone in Brooklyn. Not as fancy as the old penthouse, but filled with real love instead of hidden agendas. Charlotte fell asleep against Sophia's shoulder, completely secure in her mother's arms. This was victory. Not the money, not the company, not even the justice. This moment, this peace, this proof that sometimes the victim becomes the victor, and the story ends exactly as it should, with the villain gone in and the heroine living her absolute best life. 10 years later, Charlotte Knight Grant stood at her high school graduation podium, valedictorian of her class. In the audience, Sophia sat with Michael and their 7-year-old twins, boys who would never know a world where their mother wasn't a force of nature. "My mother taught me something important," Charlotte said to her classmates, "that your beginning doesn't determine your ending, that the people who try to dim your light only reveal their own darkness, and that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the foundation for the best thing you'll ever build." She looked directly at Sophia. "Mom, you taught me to trust my truth, fight for my worth, and never let anyone convince me I'm crazy for knowing my own mind. Thank you for showing me that phoenixes aren't myths. They're just women who refuse to stay burned." As the audience erupted in applause, Sophia wiped away tears. In her pocket, her phone buzzed with a notification. Truth Tech had just helped its millionth user. 1 million women who'd found their voice, reclaimed their power, proven their truth. Alex had wanted to destroy one woman. Instead, he'd inadvertently created an army of phoenixes. And from his grave, if he could see what Sophia had become, he would finally understand the truth. He'd never owned her. He'd only borrowed her trust. And when she took it back, she took everything else with it. The real ending wasn't his death or imprisonment. It was this: Charlotte walking across that stage, strong and confident and unafraid. The twins clapping for their big sister. Michael squeezing Sophia's hand with pure pride. And Sophia herself no longer defined by what was done to her, but by what she'd done with it. She'd turned betrayal into billions, trauma into triumph, and a nightmare into an empire. And that was the greatest revenge of all, not just surviving, but thriving so brilliantly that his name became nothing more than a footnote in her remarkable story. The sun set over New York City, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Somewhere in federal archives, Alexander Knight's case files gathered dust, a cautionary tale of greed and narcissism. But in homes across the world, women opened truth tech apps, recording evidence, protecting themselves, refusing to be gaslit. Sophia Blackwood Grant had won, and her victory echoed in every woman who refused to be silenced, every survivor who chose to fight, every phoenix who rose from carefully crafted ashes. The end wasn't an ending at all. It was a beginning that would ripple through generations, proving that sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served as a billion-dollar success story, with receipts.